The question of whether good people who live by the Bible or evil people who don't are more powerful is layered and depends on how we define power and evaluate influence in human society. Let's break it down systematically, considering multiple dimensions of power: moral, societal, psychological, and practical, while avoiding assumptions about any specific religious doctrine being inherently superior. I'll aim for a balanced, reasoned analysis, defining key terms. Good people who live by the Bible. Individuals who adhere to biblical principles, often emphasizing virtues like compassion, integrity, humility, and community, e.g. the Golden Rule, love thy neighbor, forgiveness. Their power might stem from moral authority, community cohesion, or personal resilience derived from faith. Evil people who don't. Individuals who reject biblical or moral frameworks, acting selfishly, maliciously, or destructively, e.g., pursuing power, wealth, or control through deceit, violence, or exploitation. Their power might manifest as influence, control, or dominance in material or social spheres. Power can be moral, influence through virtue; social, community or institutional control; psychological, resilience or manipulation; or material, wealth, force, or resources. Analysis of power dynamics 1. Moral power. Good people, biblical. Those who live by biblical principles often wield moral authority. Their adherence to values like honesty, charity, and forgiveness can inspire trust and loyalty, fostering strong communities. For example, figures like Martin Luther King Jr., grounded in biblical ethics, leveraged moral power to drive social change, showing that integrity can shift societal norms. Evil people, non-biblical. Those who act without moral constraints may lack this type of power. Their actions, e.g. deceit, cruelty, often erode trust, leading to isolation or resistance over time. However, some may temporarily gain influence by manipulating fear or greed, as seen in historical examples like corrupt leaders who amass followings through charisma or coercion. Edge. Good people often have greater moral power because their principles align with universal values that sustain long-term trust and cooperation. Evil actions, while impactful short-term, tend to self-destruct due to betrayal or backlash. Social power. Good people. Biblical communities, e.g. churches, faith-based organizations, can create tight-knit networks that amplify collective influence. These groups often support each other through charity, shared values, and mutual aid, as seen in religious institutions that provide social services or advocate for justice. Historically, faith-driven movements have toppled oppressive systems, e.g. abolitionism rooted in Christian ethics. Evil people. Those who reject moral frameworks may gain social power through fear, wealth, or manipulation. Dictators, criminal organizations, or corrupt elites often control institutions or resources, wielding significant influence. For instance, a ruthless business tycoon might dominate markets through unethical tactics. However, their power often relies on fragile alliances, as loyalty is tenuous without trust. Edge. Evil people may gain short-term social power through force or manipulation, but good people's networks built on trust tend to be more resilient and sustainable. 3. Psychological power. Good people. Faith in biblical principles can provide psychological resilience, purpose, and hope, enabling individuals to endure hardship or resist temptation. Studies like those from Pew Research 2020 show religious individuals often report higher life satisfaction and lower rates of depression due to community support and a sense of meaning. This inner strength can translate to influence as others are drawn to their stability. Evil people. Those who prioritize self-interest may have psychological strengths like cunning or adaptability, allowing them to exploit situations or people effectively. However, their lack of empathy or moral grounding can lead to paranoia, isolation, or instability, as seen in historical figures like Nero or modern cult leaders whose reigns collapsed under their own excesses. Edge. Good people often have greater psychological staying power due to their grounding in purpose and community, while evil individuals may burn out. Conclusion. Neither group is inherently more powerful in an absolute sense. It depends on the context and time frame. Evil people may wield greater material or immediate power due to their lack of ethical constraints, But good people who live by biblical principles often hold stronger moral, social, and psychological power, leading to more enduring influence. History and data suggest that systems built on trust, compassion, and community, core biblical values, outlast those rooted in selfishness or harm. Ultimately, the power of good lies in its ability to create, sustain, and inspire, while the power of evil often self-destructs. If you'd like me to dig deeper into specific examples, historical data, or a particular aspect of power, let me know.